Hey guys, so it's been a while since I have done an update. It's been so long that I have actually moved since my last video, and my rabbits are now in this storage shed. So let's go ahead and go take a tour. I also have goats now. You might be able to hear them throughout the video. I'll probably do a separate video on them. There they are. Okay, and it's definitely not organized in here. We don't have a garage yet, so things like weed eaters and ladders are in here until we can get those put somewhere else. For those who don't know, I raise show quality English lops in all varieties and lion heads in black tort and blue tort. I also have a pair of New Zealands. I do not show them, but this is one of them. This is the buck. This is Monster. He is a pedigreed red New Zealand, and he is the sire to any of the litters that we have. And then down here, this is Zelda. She is a white New Zealand doe. She's not pedigreed. She's one of two rabbits that are here that aren't pedigreed. So that's her. I don't show these guys, so it didn't really matter to me. She is bred, and she is due next week, I believe. And then up here is one that you might remember. This is Sawyer Sandy Cheeks. She is a broken black tort English lop doe. She is supposed to be bred. This is her nest box. Should be due any time now. I've had a really hard time getting her bred, so I'm not really sure if she took or not. We'll just have to wait and see. She is super fat, so I really hope so. She has 2 Grand Champion legs, but I really needed babies out of her, so I went ahead and retired her to have more litters for me. She is registered. Good little doe. And then in here, everyone should know, this is Sandy. She is, we don't really know, probably a New Zealand Flemish cross. She is a chestnut. This is my pet doe. I will never get rid of her. I love her so much. And we used to get a couple litters out of her, but we've retired her and she is just a pet now. So that's her. And then down here, this is Forget-Me-Not Bree. She is a registered Opal Senior English Lop doe. She has 1 Grand Champion leg. Again, I just really needed to get some kits out of her, so she isn't going to be showing much anymore. She is also bred and due next week, the same day as Zelda. So that's her. She's a pretty nice doe. She doesn't quite have the build that the rest of my English lops have, but she has a lot of really nice qualities that I like about her. So, this is my cat, Blueberry. Yeah. Hi. Hey, sweetie. Okay. This is Grand Champion Bunnies and Moors, Alaska. She is a black tort senior lion head doe. Definitely past her show prime, but she's making an excellent brood doe. You can see her. So that's her, and then these are her 4 kits. These guys are about 4.5 weeks old, I'm pretty sure. This one back here. That one has some crazy ears going on. These are all 4 does. This is the one little blue tort, and then the rest are black torts. So that's them. More than likely, these guys I probably won't keep any. I might keep one. I can already kind of tell they're not really turning out how I had hoped, but that's just part of it. Some breedings work and some don't. So there's those guys. Down here, this is Shady's Tiger Lily. Her mom is actually Alaska also. This is a Black Tort young senior doe. She is a really nice doe. I really like her type. I like how compact she is. I like her bone. She has 2 Grand Champion legs, and she is also registered. I would like to get a 3rd leg on her, but our show season has kind of ended, and I'm hoping to get some babies out of her. I am having some difficulties though because she will not breed. So we're going to have to get that taken care of and see what we can do. That's her. And then there's no one down in that bottom cage. And then up here, this is my mini convention purchase. This is Grand Champion Tobacco Road Tortilla. She is a Black Tort Senior Lion Head doe, and she came all the way from South Carolina. Really like her, and I bred her to one of my bucks, and these are her 2 kits. She had 3, but 1 didn't make it. These guys are both little bucks, which is fine because I really need a nice buck to add to my herd. So these guys are 4 weeks old. Then they're really small, have really tiny ears. They're really compact, nice, well-filled hindquarters, but you really can't tell much at 4 weeks, so we'll just have to let these guys grow. So that's her. And then in here, this is Shady's Neptune. She is a Blue Tort Senior Doe. She is also registered and has 1 Grand Champion leg. Again, I needed does for breeding, so I went ahead and retired her early. And she's also way past her show prime. She did just come off of a litter, so she does have more mane than what she's showing right now. But she's a nice little brood doe. I just weaned her litter, which I'll show you in a minute. So that's her. And then down here, there are 6 steel New Zealand kits. These guys are 9 weeks old and way too big for this cage. A little too late, obviously, for me to realize that, but I'm getting 2 more 30 by 36s over the weekend, and they will be going into much bigger cages than this by the end of the week. But there's 4 bucks and 2 does in here. Steels are a non-showable color for New Zealand. Usually happens when you cross a red to a red-eyed white. You'll usually get steels or chestnuts. But steels are my favorite color, which is reason why I chose the red to the roux. These guys are all going to be leaving here in about another week or 2. So that's them. Okay, and then up here, this is Royce Henry. You might remember him, I'm not really sure. He's a Black Tort Senior buck. He is 4 years old. He's getting up there. He was my main herd buck. I'm still using him, just not as much as the other buck that I'll show you in a minute. But that's him, and he's doing good, just living the life. He doesn't get shown. He doesn't really have much of a mane, plus he's an old man, so he just gets to stay here and breed does. In here, this is the litter. This is Neptune's litter. And there's 5 kits in here. There's 3 does and 2 bucks. Hi, babies. They're really fluffy. These guys are almost 7 weeks old, I think. Pretty fuzzy little guys. Really nice type on a couple of these does. Really liking the way they look. So definitely going to be growing out a few of these. The bucks I'm not too thrilled with. Probably won't be keeping any of the bucks just because I just don't like them as much as I do the does. Even though I really need a buck, I'm not going to keep one that I don't think is going to work for us. A lot of people put emphasis on the does in a breeding program, but really your buck makes the most impact on your herd. So if you don't have a really nice buck, you're really more than likely not going to have very nice litters. So you always want to make sure that your buck is as good as you can get, which I know can be difficult. But there's those guys. The English Lops used to be my main breed, and the lion heads I had contemplating getting out of, but the tables have turned, and lion heads are my main breed, and English Lops are kind of my side breed. So everything else besides New Zealand's, I've gotten rid of just because I really want to focus on the lion heads, English Lops, and be able to compete against some of the top competition. Down here, this is the buck that I'm really excited about. This is Shady's Peter Pan. He is the brother to Tiger Lily. He is a blue tort young senior buck. He has lost quite a bit of mane because I have been using him extensively for breeding, but he still carries a good senior buck mane. Really proud of him. He is my first homegrown grand champion, and at the last show that he went to in Christmas, Indiana, he took reserve and show, which was my first reserve and show. So he's a pretty special boy. He's really nice. He's probably doesn't look it here, but when he poses up, he is a beautiful wide rabbit. He's just really nice, and what I look for in lion heads. I really like his big wide head. So really happy with him, and have some babies. All these young ones are out of him, so I'm really hoping for some future show prospects to kind of carry on. So that's him. And then I have one solid bottom cage still, and it's pretty much for emergencies. Pretty much bad moms that won't have their kids in the nest box. So this is Shady's Nessie. I don't know if you remember her or not. Whoops, sorry. I can't really get in here that with just one hand, but she's a black tort senior lion head doe. She carries excellent senior mane. She is just full of mane. Really beautiful doe. She is supposed to be due tonight. However, I don't think that she is bred, so I may have to rebreed her, unfortunately. But she's a bit longer in type than I like, but again, Peter Pan can hopefully fix that. So that's her. And then in here I have, which these guys are getting ready to get moved also. There's 6 English Lot babies. These guys are 11 weeks old. There's 3 blue torts and 3 creams. There's 2 of the creams. And 3 bucks and 3 does. So 2 of the blue torts are bucks and 1 blue tort doe back there. And 2 cream does and 1 cream buck. 2 of these I'm really liking. 2 are okay, and 2 will probably not make the cut. So we'll see. Ugh, they love to just, they're so friendly. Get back in there. Get back in there. So that's them. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, their mother was Forget Me Not Bite the Bullet. She was a grand champion with 9 legs, and she very unfortunately passed away a couple weeks ago due to the heat, even though I had multiple fans going in here. Very, very sad, but did get a new air conditioning unit, so it stays about 75 in here at all times, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. So very grateful for that. Up here, this is Baby. She is a homegrown. This is my husband's pet. He refuses to let me sell her. She's a Blue Tort Senior Doe. She doesn't make senior weight, and her ears are barely 21 inches, which is the minimum, but just not what I would be looking for to breed. So she's just his pet. She just takes up a cage. But she's the sweetest rabbit. Very sweet little girl. She's a year old. And then, sorry, this is hard to do with one hand. In here, this is Grand Champion Forget Me Not Repeat. He is a cream senior English Lop buck. He's the father to the kits I just showed you. He is a very handsome buck. He's my only herd buck that I'm using currently for breeding. He has 5 or 6 legs, one for a Best 6 class and another for a Best in Show at the Lop Specialty Show. So very fortunate to have him, and excited to use him in the future. Down here, this is Sawyer's Patrick Star. He is also registered. He's a broken Blue Tort senior English Lop buck. He is a pet now. He's completely retired. The difference between him and Repeat as far as type-wise is uncomparable, so it doesn't make sense to use him to breed to any of the does, because Repeat's just so much nicer, type-wise, ears, everything. So Patrick gets to retire and live his life as a pet. So we now have 3 pets, which I am not particularly happy about, but it is what it is, and they're staying, so no more pets though. And then I got a new stacker recently. It is a 6-hole. The holes are 24 by 18s, I think. I did have this whole thing filled last week. I had 2 bucks down there and a buck in here, and I actually sold all 3 of them in the past week. So just didn't like how they were turning out. I'm so picky on my bucks. I really want something nice to breed to my does. So in here, this is Shady's Delta. She's a junior Black Tort Lionhead doe. It's okay. And she is kind of, I don't know how I would describe her. I like her, but I don't like her as much as some of my other does on my show string. She is a bit more, that's cute. She's a bit more chopped off in her hindquarters, a bit undercut is, I guess, a better word. But I am having a serious problem with clean faces, and if you can see, she has really started shedding the wool on her face. So I like her enough that I will probably keep her and use her for just as a brood doe even, just to see what I can get out of her. She's not horrible, but she's just not the quality that I would normally keep. And then in here, this is her sister, who is another story in its own. This is Shady's Tessa. She is a blue tort junior lionhead doe. She doesn't look blue tort, and she doesn't look like a lionhead. I think she looks more like an Angora more than anything. Hold on. There we go. But she is a very light blue tort, which I really like. And she is taking her sweet time clearing off her saddle and getting her breaks. These guys are a little over 4 months old now. She has some strange ear placement, and she's pretty furry on that face, but if I could get her out and pose her, I would for you, but it would just be too difficult with one hand. She's a really nice doe. Hindquarters are massive, full to the table, beautiful top line, really nice bone, nice thick wide head. Again, ears are less than desired, but she has all the parts to make a really nice brood doe even though she is on my show string. Well, she will be when she clears off a little bit more. These wool ear does I could breed back to Henry because he doesn't have much mane, so yeah, really liking her. Then the last doe that I have is Shady's Carmelo. She is a junior black tort lionhead doe, and she is just a doll. I really like this doe, which is kind of funny because out of a litter of 6, I sold all of them, and I ended up keeping her, but she was the first one on my to-go list. And each week that went by, I kept finding one that I disliked a little more than her, so I would sell that one, and that just kept happening every week. She was just one away from being sold constantly, until finally she was the last one, and I got her out, and I really liked her. And so I took her to a show, and she ended up taking first place junior doe, and in a group of some older juniors. She's about 11 weeks old now, I would say. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but she was probably like 8 weeks old when I took her. So really pretty little doe. Really like her a lot. So a question that I get asked a lot is, what do I feed my bunnies? Because I think people see that there's like stuff inside of their food bowls that is not pellets. So I feed Pen Pals. I feed a 16% show feed to the New Zealands and to the Lionheads, and then I feed the 18% protein Pen Pals to the English Lops. And I also am feeding this to the New Zealand Growouts, just because I need them to gain some weight. The English Lops have to be on 18%. They do not do well on the 16%. It's just not enough for them. So I was feeding Mana Pro 16%, and then I switched to 18%, and I just didn't like either one, so I switched to Pen Pals, and there's been such a difference in my flush condition on these guys. I also feed to growing rabbits, so like the New Zealand and the English lops. I'm feeding calf manna. Oops, sorry. And I'm also feeding this to nursing does. So anybody who has kits right now is getting calf manna. And then I'm also feeding, that's the calf manna. No, that's the calf manna. I'm also feeding black oil sunflower seeds, which come in this bag. It's just like for birds, basically. So I'm also feeding that, and then I feed just old-fashioned rolled oats that you would get at the grocery store. But not every rabbit gets all of that. They all get different different things to suit their needs. A lot of the lion heads don't get anything because some of them don't need it. These two I'm giving black oil sunflower seeds to help them with their coats, because they're trying to molt and get some of their old stuff off and new stuff coming in, so that kind of helps them with that. The English lops, him and Bree, they get oats in theirs to kind of help them stay in condition. And all of the English lops get black oil sunflower seeds. So she doesn't get anything because she is too fat. So, and then I have these hay feeders. Everybody gets hay. This is literally a milk jug cut in half with zip ties, and they just eat it through the thing, so I don't have to spend all that extra money on hay feeders. So yeah, if you liked this video, you can subscribe or comment or even like it, and that would be great. I'm gonna try and do some more videos if life doesn't get in the way. And thank you for watching. Bye.